So it's been a year since the Dobbs decision from the Supreme Court, which effectively overturned all Supreme Court precedent when it comes to reproductive rights, the right to an abortion, up to, basically the third trimester, or at least 20 weeks. That was a 1973 ruling, if you don't remember that. Planned Parenthood versus Casey, which reaffirmed Roe v. Wade in 1992. And there's been a lot of fallout. So it's been a year. It's been a year. What's happened? Have we, we started off this year, we heard a lot of those really incredible stories of people crossing borders, like the 10-year-old rape victim, who was from Ohio, who went into, I believe, Indiana and got an abortion. But since then, a lot of these stories have fallen from the headlines. You'll see them from time to time in a New York Magazine piece or, here and there, but we have not seen the everyday stories that we know exist making their way into national news. And yet, in the 9 months, and this is according to Vice, since the end of Roe, there were 66,000 fewer abortions in states with abortion bans, according to research from the Society for Family Planning. Although the number of abortions in states without bans rose, researchers estimated that they didn't increase enough. People may have been self-managing their abortions or simply going without. In Texas, again, near total abortion ban. Just 2 independent abortion clinics pivoted to provide reproductive care. So this is the one thing that's important to remember, because a lot of these clinics were like, well, maybe we can't provide abortions, but we can stay open and provide broader care, or if someone is pregnant, whatnot. Well, this article is actually claiming and showing that the opposite has happened, that those clinics haven't stayed open. So only 2 of those independent abortion clinics pivoted to reproductive care. Every other independent clinic closed. Independent clinics, by the way, are the ones that aren't part of Planned Parenthood. And it's important to note that right now, Planned Parenthood is slashing their staffing. So it's getting rid of something like 14% of their staff. Now, Subhah, I hear 66,000 fewer abortions, and I know what the right thinks when they hear that. They're like, well, that's great. You saved 66,000 lives. And in my mind, I'm like, that's terrible. You just ruined 66,000 lives, if not more.
It's not. No, it's fucking awful. And it's like, you don't care about women. You don't care about kids. You've done nothing. And it's like these clinics that offered all these other reproductive health services to women are gone. So now women don't have access to the healthcare they need, even not even talking about pregnancy, just to exist and thrive. And we have some of the highest maternal mortality rates, especially amongst Black women, you're not pro-life. You're not. Nope. It's just, you've proven that day after day after day. And it's just this weird, oh, good, there are 66,000 more people and it's but what are you doing to make sure they're actually living a life that's worth living? Not to be super dark, but it's everyone's like, oh, I'll adopt your baby. And it's like, oh, okay, then why is the foster care system so they don't care. They don't care.
No. And the I'll adopt your baby thing is so evil, in my opinion.
It's so gross.
And it's so gross. And and the ways that you assume that someone would, once a child is born, would want to give them up for adoption versus be able to, either live with dignity, economically support them, be able to have the healthcare to support them, or just straight up not have it to have the problem because they didn't want to be a parent in the first place because of all those factors. And it doesn't mean they didn't want to be a parent. They don't want to be a parent in the future, nor does it mean they didn't want to be a parent when they already had a kid, because 60% of abortions are sought by people who are already parents. So again, it's so evil and cruel. And again, the stories that we're just not hearing about, it's a little bit of you're going to see the bump in 20 years or 15 years of gee, I wonder why it feels like our mental health crisis is getting worse. I wonder why it feels like people have more weapons. I wonder why people are more, as if we could get worse. The fentanyl crisis, the opioid epidemic is even worse. And it's we could link that to the years that you decided to ban abortion and reproductive rights, to just how much dignity, just how much and poverty and desperation folks are living in 15, 20, however many years later.
Mention all the stories about women bleeding out in like during a miscarriage or some other pregnancy complication because doctors who have sworn an oath to protect our health are scared of being prosecuted. It's just gross. Is it bad that I have like a dark fantasy where it's like all these forced births cause all these gender reveal mishaps and then we just burn down the entire world? That's how we go out, not a comet, just a million gender reveal forest fires.
Yeah. You're like, we can't. First of all, the fire is very difficult to control, Subhah. So I like where you're going, but I feel like we could tweak it some. But I do like the idea that yes, there have to be massive gender reveals for unwanted pregnancies.
That will end us all, and then we can all have a little bit of peace.
They have to be at Republicans' mansions. The McCloskeys with their little weapons. I mean, this is the thing. I'm like, who's volunteering to pay for all the maternal health care needed, right? We had this Olympic runner who just, again, you talk about Black maternity, maternal mortality. Black runner, Olympic medalist, just died recently.
That was so sad.
So sad. Meanwhile, I just found out that Beyonce also had like some stuff go down during her pregnancy and birth of her twins. And then of course Serena Williams. It's like, it doesn't matter how rich you are. So anyway, yeah, we don't know how to care for mothers. We don't care. And by the way, Subhah, we are not alone. 61% of Americans, this is in a new poll, said they disapprove of the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. This was just ahead of this 1-year anniversary. Women, particularly younger women voters, were more likely to disapprove of the Supreme Court decision, while 67% of women overall said they disapproved of the ruling, and 77% of women between the ages, okay, so huge numbers here. So 77% of women between the ages of 18 and 49 said they disapproved. That's basically of childbearing age, right? Obviously it would be younger if 16-year-olds could vote, or, as I believe, high schoolers should absolutely vote. Voters of color, of course, more likely than white voters to oppose the Dobbs decision, or not, of course. That's interesting. While 78% of Black voters and 70% of Latino voters say they disapproved, only 50% of white voters said so. Okay, yes, more likely to oppose. Exactly. Because they are the ones disproportionately more affected when it comes to lack of access and the rest, which is, again, also like, we're always getting gaslit around like, well, I don't know, the conservative Latino community is really against abortion. No, they're not. No, I mean, maybe if you want to just really
like
parse
in a
it.
super subsection, yeah.
But like, yeah, stop trying to sell me on all that BS about how people of color are actually kind of conservative. No. Anyway, so it's just been, this is a Jezebel article. Also, Planned Parenthood seeing a 700% spike in abortion patients traveling to Illinois, specifically because Illinois is surrounded by a bunch of states that have abortion bans. So it is like folks are coming in from everywhere. Second highest increase in abortions in any state, 28% between April and August of last year.
Wow.
Yeah. The organization Planned Parenthood also is noting that the costs and barriers incurred by being forced to travel out of state for care, more and more patients are facing delays that force them to seek later abortion care. The exact thing the Republicans say they want to prevent, late-term abortions. When you make it more difficult to get one, that's what happens. Planned Parenthood said procedural abortion 14 weeks or later increased by 32%. All of this offers a snapshot about how the shuttering of abortion access in some states post-Roe has worsened conditions everywhere as the consequences for abortion bans in some states bleed across the country. And yeah, I mean,
it's just so frustrating because it's not like, I don't know, for like a couple reasons. Number one, it's not fucking science based. Like the concept of a soul is not scientific. There's no consciousness. Your quote unquote heartbeat loss, that's not a goddamn heartbeat. That's an electric pulse. Like it's not, what you're saying is not based in science and fact, and you can have your own beliefs, but you're not allowed to push that on other people. It's psychotic, especially, I mean, Samantha Bee did like a great piece on the origins of anti-abortion or like pro-life and the religious community and how it didn't even used to be that big of a religious issue until politicians started using churches and like getting them on board to create this wedge issue. It's literally a created issue.
Yep. Because if you truly believed in like family, you would believe in family planning, and you would believe in like, helping. And again, I got a lot of friends in the fertility struggle. I got a lot of friends trying to get pregnant fast, right? And my God, the lack of good reproductive care for people who want to be parents, again, for people who have complications with pregnancies, have miscarriages, you are dooming people who do want kids. And fucking, because it's entitled dudes who are making these rules, who have no bearing, who have no understanding of what it is to be pregnant or how to get pregnant or anything, or don't know where the clit is. This is, start with the clit. Then we'll talk. This is a second clit reference. I'm going for at least 6 today. Anyway, it's heinous. And look, I don't know about you, Subhah, but I feel like the young women who are opposed to this give me a lot of hope. And
I hope so.
I hate to say that in a like, you do what we couldn't do. But no, I'm serious. Like I think we're gonna turn the tide.
I hope so. I mean, obviously America isn't functioning as a democracy when you have like such policy against like what is overtly popular views. Of course, we're not functioning that way, but just in terms of like minority factions being able to retain control, where it's like we're a gerontocracy, we're being controlled by all of these like smaller red states despite their dwindling populations and their dependence on blue states for financial support to exist. Like I hope some shit works out, because damn dude, like
I want to just I think not without a lot of agitation, not without a lot of work. And so everyone, please continue to donate to independent clinics. They need money. They need donations. And, if you donated a year ago, time to re-up, because it goes a long way. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.